Nash called. He told me to get dressed, and then he hung up. He never says much, only commands me like I am his dog, and I did just what he asked, and quickly. Nash doesn't like to wait. The last time he did, he broke my nose. Despite it being chilly outside, I got dressed in an old pink miniskirt, wedges, and a dingy white tank top. It's how Nash likes me to dress, only this time I am wearing a bra, which he hates. I was applying my lipstick when I heard the horn to his car blowing from the street. I rushed out of the house and got into his car that he loves so much. He says it's a classic or something. I personally think it looks ugly, and that it makes a lot of noise. Nash didn't say hello to me when I got in the car. He never does, which is why I wasn't expecting it. We drove in silence, passing homeless people who slept at the bus stops and in the streets begging for money. Like usual, he complained.
I hate Detroit. It's a complete shithole.
Where are we going? I finally asked. Nash took his time answering.
To Clyde's.
He glanced at my chest, then back at the road.
What are you wearing? You know that I don't like you wearing a bra. How many times do I have to tell you that it's bad for business?
I'm sorry, I said. We stopped at a light.
Take it off.
I unfastened it and pulled it from underneath my tank top to where my nipples showed. I could feel the cool air against my breast, and it made me feel shameful. I crossed my arms to cover myself. As for Nash, he grabbed the bra from my lap, the only one I had, and he tossed it from the car window. The light turned green, and I watched it lay in the middle of the street through the rear view that left it behind. While Nash played poker with Clyde and a few of his buddies, I sat on the green sofa across from them. It was old and smelled really bad. But who was I to complain? Between all the whiskey, beer, and different types of smoke, I could barely breathe. The only other woman there noticed. She offered to open a window, but I told her that I was already cold. She gave me a throw blanket instead. I took it and wrapped it around my body. She sat next to me and introduced herself as Sarah, Clyde's on-and-off-again girlfriend. She was 23 years old, way younger than Clyde, who was 35, the same age as Nash. I apologize for this old smelly couch. I'm making Clyde buy a new one this month. Clyde overheard. He thought otherwise, with a blunt hanging from his lip.
Yeah, right.
A couple of the guys laughed. Sarah ignored him. So, what's your name? My name is Jenny Madison. That's a good name. I don't mean to be rude, but how old are you? You look very young. I'm 16, but I turned 17 in 2 months. I quickly explained. Do you go to school? Sometimes. When I answered, the room got quiet, and I could tell that it annoyed Nash that I was talking about school. The guys got rowdy again. Sarah looked at my waist. You look about the size I was 2 years ago. I have a bunch of old clothes that I am looking to get rid of. I probably shouldn't say old. They're actually in good shape and in style. We went to the bedroom, and she slid a half-full box from the closet. She handed me a dress from it. It was black. I put it up to my body and looked in the mirror while Sarah watched from the carpet. I only wore it twice. Yeah, well, Nash would never let me wear it. And even if I did, I would look a fool. This is a dress meant for a Hollywood star on the red carpet, or one of those classy girls who garden and read before bed. Sarah looked worried. What did you mean when you said that Nash won't let you? He's just very strict about certain things. I lowered the dress, then lowered my head to where I saw every stain on their dirty carpet. Sarah stood up and closed the door. When she spoke to me, she spoke in a low voice. Look, I know that I just met you, but do you need help? I'm fine, I said. I just don't feel comfortable with a 16-year-old hanging out with a guy like Nash. From what Clyde tells me, he doesn't sound like a nice guy. I'm fine, I said. She gave up. Okay, if you say so. She helped me carry the box to the car, and while we were out there, we heard arguing from the house. We both ran back inside, and Clyde and Nash were being held off one another. They threw beer bottles at each other and argued about the money Nash owed him from the poker game. 2 hours later, they were having a beer in the garage, and as for me, I was falling asleep on the sofa. That was until Nash woke me up.
Hey, wake up. I need you out back.
I followed him to the garage. The streetlights showed just how high Clyde was, and I could smell all the garbage from the alleyway. It made me sick. There was a line of coke on top of a toolbox, and while Clyde sniffed it, Nash explained to me that he lost quite a few bucks and owed Clyde money. I knew just what that meant, and what I had to do. Sarah joined. She stood at the screen door that slammed when she closed it. What's going on? It seemed she already knew. Nash looked at me.
I'll be waiting in the car.
He walked away, ignoring Sarah. Clyde ignored her too. He took my arm and led me into the garage. Sarah ran down the stairs and started hitting him on the back. He pushed her away and then looked at her with his red eyes.
I told you that I prefer them young. And as for you, it's like I've been telling you. You can stay or leave, but I will always do what I want.
He faced me with a perverted stare.
With who I want.
Sarah called him trash and then told him that it was over. Before she left, she looked at me like I was the lowest scum on earth. After being with Clyde, I knew that I was. On the car ride back home, Nash didn't speak to me. He just drove. The temperature had dropped and there was little traffic on the streets. We ended up passing my bra that Nash tossed out of the car earlier. It was all dirty and ripped from the traffic. I wiped the tear that fell from my eye and focused ahead.
For monthly episodes, check out the link to my Patreon page. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.